What's going on? So in this video I will be sharing uh, an update on the 0 Hour Challenge that I announced on May 2nd. So we're about 20 days deep into the challenge right now. And so I just wanted to come on, share an update, keep it raw, keep it simple. Um, and yeah, just kind of share where I'm at, what's been going well, what's been challenging, um, and maybe what you could learn or what you could benefit from this experience. So, if you are, first of all, unaware of the 0 Hour Challenge, basically, the purpose of this challenge is to publicly challenge myself to be present in my life and to replace myself fully inside of my business so that I can, again, be more present with my family, with myself, with my day to day. So basically, for those of you that don't know me too well, I run a brand called Different Hunger, which is a lifestyle brand that helps people escape the rat race. And we have, since 2017, I've been full time. And the primary business that's kind of sustained me since then has been our studio. And so, right now, I would say I've made a ton of progress so far on the challenge. So let's just jump into it. And also, for some context, I also have ADHD. Whether you think that's real or not, whatever, I don't really know. But the way my brain works makes this even more challenging. And so that was another reason that I wanted to publicly do this, because now that I have two little amazing babies, time's ticking, and I want to make this happen. So basically, the terms for the challenge is I have 60 days to replace myself fully, to make my brand 100% automated and asynchronous. Asynchronous just means that everything happens when it happens. The opposite of async is real time. So, like, for example, this call right now or this live right now is real time. Most meetings happen in real time. All meetings happen in real time. Asynchronous is basically like you come in, you work on whatever you need to work on your own time, and that's async. 4 F's of the challenge are fun, family, flow, and fitness every day. So just a quick update on that. I've think I've done a pretty solid job with that. I spend a little bit of time every day with the family, usually at least an hour or two. Fitness, every day I'm moving. Flow, I've definitely been getting some great time in. I have missed a few days, so that's definitely a challenge. But yeah, so basically, let me just kind of give you like a high level summary, and then I'll dive into the kind of more specifics. And all of this that I'm sharing will be accessible inside of a Google Doc that I'll share in the comments here. All right. So we're 2 weeks in, or 3 weeks roughly. It's been a challenge, a lot of wins and lots of self-sabotage trying to keep me stuck. I realized that I had a huge fear of letting go, and I compensated for that by being a perfectionist and trying to control everything. So I discovered that these were both surface level issues, right? Because how I always think about things is from like a psychological perspective, right? Like, if I have a fear of letting go, if I am being a perfectionist, if I'm trying to control everything, those are rooted in underlying beliefs. And I discovered that those underlying beliefs was based in fear from unworthiness. And so basically, what this meant was that since I subconsciously believed that I was not enough or I was unworthy, I had to appear perfect to be valuable. And so appearing to be perfect is what drove my kind of compulsive overthinking and over optimization, when really what I needed to do was just ship it and just let go of the fear, let go of the unworthiness, not by like shaming it out, but by loving it out, and accepting that this is part of the journey and I have to learn from it. So, that might be a little deeper than you're expecting, but that was a big breakthrough for me, right? Because I realized that, we always want to talk about systems and tactics and how do you do this and how do you do that and what's the best way to do this. But if the foundation of who you are is rooted in unworthiness, nothing that you do is really going to sustain itself long term and or perform at the level that it's capable of. So that was a big breakthrough for me, being able to realize that, because I would just kind of find myself not spiraling, but like when it came time to be like, okay, now we need to ship this, I would just constantly keep optimizing, refining, perfecting. When in reality, what I needed to do is just say, okay, we're posting this, we're promoting this, we're launching this, we're doing this, and it's not perfect, and that's okay, but it needs to go out now. And so that was a big breakthrough for me. So now I'm going to kind of go through like a bullet list of some of the wins, some of the challenges, opportunities, and the most important lessons. And so right now we have 42 days left in the challenge. I've about 70% left of the time. And yeah, high level, I'm feeling pretty good. Made a ton of progress, which I'm about to break down. I can kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel. I can see how all of these pieces are going to free my time and mental energy. But I am definitely bottlenecked right now in a few ways, which I'll discuss. So let's get into it. So first of all, wins. I've had a lot more fun, a lot more family time. I've been out, spend a few mornings with my mom, with my boy Noah. That's super awesome. We just went to the Air and Space Museum with some friends, and that was amazing. We went to a petting farm this weekend. And so stuff like that is just like super fun, and I definitely want to keep doing more of that. So that's been a great win. Another huge win is I've basically rebuilt Different Hunger from scratch. Not scratch, but I've completely revamped the entire brand UX operating system. So we have a new blog, we have a new website, we have a new Facebook group, we have a new studio website, we have a new roadmap. So basically, now you come to this form, you enter a few questions, and we will automatically recommend exactly what you need to do based on the current level that you're at in order to live on your own terms full time, meaning how do you build a brand? How do you automate everything? How do you achieve time freedom? We break down all the steps. So I'll share a link again to all of these things. So that's been super fun. And that's also led me to a lot of over optimization. Because it's so fun, I love like the design, the creative, the strategy side of this. And so I've kind of gotten lost in a lot of these things, um, you know, graphics, visuals, copy, all this stuff. So it's been super fun, and I've, revamped, as you can see, and maybe if you haven't seen, I'll share a link so you can check out our new blog, website, etc. But everything's looking really good. It's been a long time in the works, and now it's time to just let it go. So that's the UX brand side. On the operating system side, I have basically visualized our entire like operations. So everything from our brand identity all the way through to how do we retain customers, clients, partners, is mapped out and visualized. On top of that, I now have a playbook that all of my team members have access to. It's about 75% done. And so all of our SOPs, everything is there. And then I also have a central sheet that basically breaks down like all of our operations, all of our tasks, provides easy access to everything. And I've also created a training portal for all new hires to onboard them, ramp them up, and get them up to speed, up to the point that they're ready to start doing trial tasks. And that happens all automatically. So I'll share some other content another time about these systems broken down, because each one is like worthy of multiple videos, multiple pieces of content, because I don't want to say it's complex, but it just takes a little bit of time to explain and share exactly how it works. But yeah, so those are some huge wins, right? Like new blog, new website, new branding, new sales pages, new operating systems, new training for the team and onboarding. So lots of progress the last few weeks here. In addition to that, this is something that's pretty exciting that I haven't really talked about publicly yet, but a couple months ago, we got connected to a Google development partner, and long story short, we partnered up with them to develop some of our AI-based workflows. So basically, the first thing that we do every time we get a new client or partner inside the studio is we do an intake form, and based on that intake form, we then go through, we audit and overhaul and optimize the brand's targeting, the brand's positioning, the brand's offering, and basically their go-to-market strategy, all of those things. And so that entire process right now is automated. And that is what we partnered with the Google team to do. So basically they're a third party that is Google certified. And so they received $20,000 in funding to build out this, they call it a POC, which I usually call it an MVP, but it's just a proof of concept, right? So right now we have a form, and that process is automated. So that's huge, and that's something that's very exciting, and I'll talk more about that. But, this is something that I've come to learn after, working with hundreds of clients, is like, step one is always audit what is the current state of the business and the brand. And some people call it like a SWOT analysis, where you do strengths, weaknesses, opportunities. It's similar but different what we do, and now again with AI, it's pretty much automatic. So all of that work and all that research that took hours and hours before now will take minutes. And so that's really exciting because we can really serve a lot more people. And then we can also productize this up into other ways. So that's exciting stuff. Another big win on a personal level. I PR'd my squat. I've been squatting lower than I used to. So I hit 275 for 8, and that's an ass to grass squat. So I'm getting all the way down to the bottom. Shout out to my boy Kale for pushing me to go lower. And so, I'm mentioning that because, again, this is all about, like, not just not working, but, not getting to 0 hours, but it's about, living your best life possible, being the healthiest that you can be, being the strongest that you can be. So that was exciting for me because I'm losing weight, and I'm also increasing my strength right now. So I've got into a pretty good flow with my fitness right now that I just want to keep consistent with. Then the last big win, and this is exciting, but it's also caused another bottleneck, which I'll discuss. But last week I posted a job listing that got 214 applications in 3 days. And that number is more now because I wrote this a couple days ago. So over 200 applications. And so now I'm going through a lot of the candidates, vetting them, trialing them, and really just building this army so that I can, focus on where I need to be focused. So those are the wins. Now let's talk about the challenges. As I mentioned before, self-sabotage through endless optimizations, that was something that I've already talked about. And, I think it's arguably the most important challenge to overcome and the only challenge to overcome, because all business problems are personal problems, and all marketing problems are personal problems if you are the founder of your company, right? So it's really important to get the mind dialed in, and so that's what I'm working on actively doing, and I have a lot of resources around that I'll be sharing. So secondly, a big challenge is my inconsistent schedule. So I've been struggling to have a consistent schedule. And so what that means is I usually have found myself like finding the most productivity, or at least the most like quiet time, in the later evenings. And so that has led me to staying up late and waking up late. And just overall not having a ton of consistency with my schedule, which has been a challenge and something that I need to definitely work on. The third bottleneck is related to the new talent applications. I've gotten over 200 plus applications. I have dialed in the process, but there's still work to be done, and I still am, a bit bottlenecked with trialing, because basically my hiring process is a bit different than usual, but I don't do interviews. I just do trial tasks after candidates go through training, assessments, and kind of prove to me that they are ready to implement. So now I have 5 or 6 candidates going through trial tasks, and just reviewing those tasks, approving those tasks, giving feedback on those tasks has become another bottleneck right now that I need to resolve. So opportunities. Opportunities are to, just continue vetting the new talent and really finding, a few core team members that are going to be able to help me full time. Because I think with like 1 or 2 VAs initially, that's going to free up a ton of my time. So that is priority number 1. priority number 2, or opportunity number 2, is to reactivate the community. I've admittedly done a horrible job at doing that and engaging the community and just having a system around consistently nurturing the community, sharing content with the community, because I've just been so busy behind the scenes getting shit done. And so that's why I need to get help, and that's why I need to get talent on board ASAP, because the community is everything. You know, you guys mean the world to me, and you know, you are the reason that I've been able to live my dream for the last few years. And so I have to prioritize showing up for the community, bringing value, and just giving as much as possible, because that is the ultimate unlock. So let's get it. Third opportunity is to turn on traffic. And when I say turn on traffic, I specifically mean, you know, turn on ads, get content going out every day, get emails going out every day. Those few things are going to change the game, because now we have a brand new funnel, a whole brand new vibe, and brand new products and offers and all that good stuff. And so now it's about getting people through the funnel and signing up and changing their life, because at this point, I've been through it. I've been in the game, you know, for about over a decade now, and we have the best products in the world for the problem that we are solving, which is helping people escape the rat race. So I'm fired up about it. I got to get out there. I got to keep pushing, and I got to turn these things on. So, last few bits here are the most important lessons I've learned from this experience so far. So here they are. First one is remembering is way more valuable than learning. What that means is what it sounds like, right? Like, we always are in the pursuit of more, but the truth is that we don't really need more information. We need to remember the right information. You know, we need more reminding and remembering than we do learning and addition. So that's been really key, because like throughout this process, I've just kind of gone back to my roots, that, you know, some of my foundational systems and routines and rituals that I started doing back when I first got started as an entrepreneur. And I've just kind of realized that, like, simple is the best way, right? And so I just needed to remember that, and I needed to remember what those kind of core rituals were. So the other big lesson that I've learned is that both fear and reality are not real, right? And so what does that mean? Well, that means that everything exists in the mind, right? And so what you fear is in your mind, and what you see in reality is also in your mind. And so really what you are seeing is a reflection of your mind and who you are inside. And so that's a huge lesson that I've had to really internalize and become and be with, because, like I said, I've had a lot of self-sabotage around procrastination, perfectionism, over-optimization, that kind of stuff. And the reality is that those things are only existing because of the beliefs and the fears that those beliefs give rise to, which in my case were fear of letting go, fear of losing control, which were rooted in unworthiness, right? So if I believe that I'm not good enough, then I'm going to have to prove that I am enough through external things. But those external things will never change the internal identity. So that has been a huge lesson for me, a huge breakthrough, because the truth is like, man, we have all these stories in our heads and it's all bullshit. They're all just not real, right? And like, no one's thinking about you. No one's like, oh, this guy's a joke, or this is that. And everyone's too busy worried about themselves. But we use those imaginary fears as a reason not to show up, not to take action, not to be who we need to be. And so let this be your reminder that it's not real. Nothing's real. It's all in our minds. And so what we project is reality. What we see inside of ourselves is what we project out. And so therefore that is the reality. And so therefore reality is surreal, and we can change it and we can manipulate it to our benefit. So that's been a great, powerful lesson that I've learned through this challenge. And then the third, and arguably, I mean, these are some high level lessons. It's hard to say that there's any most important one here, but this is definitely one of them. The third one is letting go equals leveling up. So again, leveling up, in my experience, almost never comes from addition. It almost never comes from more. Like, yes, you do need to typically invest more energy into something, but that does not necessarily mean that you need to do more things. It typically means you need to do less things more intensely. And so for me, letting go equals leveling up. What that means is that in my case, I've been holding on too tightly to my business, and I need to let go, right? Because if, I've grown it to this level by myself with help here and there, and I want to grow it to this level, that's not going to happen by me taking more control. That's going to happen by me letting go and letting others help me level up, right? So that right now is very key for me, and that's why I'm hiring. I'm getting people ramped up and trained up. So yeah, I can't do this alone. I literally cannot do this alone. And so that's another big reason that I decided to do this challenge, was to publicly force myself to get help and to let go so that I can really tap into the true potential that I believe we have here, for Different Hunger as a brand, as a community, but also for myself and my personal life. So that's the update. All right. Thanks for listening. If you want to follow along, make sure you're in our Facebook group, and make sure that you're checking out my newsletter. Admittedly, I am not doing a great job with the steady updates, but I'm working on it. I'm getting help. I'm getting organized, and I promise to improve. That being said, this has been the last couple weeks of updates for the 0 Hour Challenge. We got 42 days or so left. And so, yeah, let's crush it. Let's get to 0 hours. Let's be fully present, and let's let more peace, more love, more light, and good vibes into our daily life. So I'll catch you in another video, and I'll talk to you soon.